Hey everybody, today we're going to make some personalized chicken pot pies. For this we're going to need a spatula, a large bowl, a scale, a baker's knife. This one is a putty knife. I just cut the handle off of them, works for me. A rolling pin and some saran wrap. Also we're going to need 360 grams of flour, all purpose, an egg, 3 grams of salt, 4 grams of baking powder, and 200 grams of water. All right, so first we add our flour, our salt, our baking powder. All right. Mix that well so it's all incorporated nice and. All right, and then we add the butter. And we just mix it and break it up into, I wish they have these baker's knives, they have like 3 slots in them and you go like this and it makes it so much easier, but it's just another weight thing for me, so I don't really have the space in our backpacks, in our suitcases. But we just go ahead and break these up and try to get them into pea-sized shapes and incorporate it in with the flour. Alright, so I've got it pretty close to pea-size shaped before it gets all melty and stuff. Alright, so now we'll add the egg. Start mixing that up. Getting that put in there. And then all we're going to do is we're going to add the water, but just add like half for now because you don't want to overdo it. It isn't like you can't add more if you need it, but you can't take out. So this way we know we're safe. And once it gets to a certain point, this thing doesn't do any good.
Is it as relaxing as working with clay?
I love this stuff. I love baking. Baking is fun for me because, like you said, clay to me is like a stress ball, and that's pretty much what this is to me. Yeah, so that's pretty good. We could have added a little bit more water, but what a mess it would have made, and this just makes it that much easier. So we could even go, I put 3/4 or 200 milligrams, but we could do a half cup. All right, and then we just put a little bit in here, and knead for about 4 or 5 minutes because what you really want to do is get that gluten working. Push with your palm, bend over, push with your palm, bend over, keep pushing. Work that baby in. And you keep going until it gets smooth, and it will. It'll start getting really smooth really fast. All right. Wrap that baby down around like that. Tighten it up against the bowl, against the table. Make a nice little ball. All right, then we can take our, well, if I can get the plastic to unwrap. And we will put this in the refrigerator for an hour. You can have it for an hour up to 24, easy enough. So you could even do this the night before, so you don't have to do it first thing. And while this is resting, we'll go for our filling. Okay, so I added a little bit of powdered bouillon cube and some garlic salt and whatnot. I'm just mixing it up so that, cooking it up so that they'll be easier to break up when it's done. Definitely don't want them this big to go a little mini. You'll see how small of a pies we're making. So I'm going to make this so it's kind of like shredded, but I just want to make sure that it's cooked up. And we'll get on to the rest of it in a bit. Okay, so now we're going to make the roux. This is basically a way of making a gravy. So I've got a cup of milk here, 2 cups of milk here, and then I brought some out. This is 100 grams of milk and 25 grams of flour. We'll put the milk in and let it warm up and just sprinkle in a little bit of this
Bouillon.
bouillon cube, bouillon powder, just to give it a little bit more flavor. Once you start putting the flour in, the flour is going to start sucking up the milk. So you're going to want to constantly stir it with a spatula and don't stop until it is completely smooth. And you'll see this in a minute. Then we'll start adding the milk, the other milk, slowly, because you don't want to put too much in. You want it to keep continuously making gravy. It will get liquidy, but just as soon as you take it off the oven, off the stove, and let it sit for a minute, it will start to thicken back up. This is also the way they make tangyong for tangyong biscuit. Dinner rolls, which I'll be making soon. So this part you'll be able to already know. I will still put it in the video for people that didn't see this one, but yeah, definitely. Okay, so now that this is already starting to steam up and heat up, we'll put this in there. And like I said, you're gonna want to constantly stir this because it will burn. The very first time I did this, it made a mess, burned like no tomorrow. And I take it off the heat so it won't burn. Notice how that's starting to become really, really thick and lumpy. We want that to get really smooth. Now when we do the tangyong, it will be a little bit more putty-like, but we want this to be nice, no lumps, nice and smooth. And once we do, then we can start putting this milk in, little bits at a time. Like I said, constantly stirring because you don't want this to burn. As the milk heats up, it will start to incorporate better. I'm going to let this cook right down again to get all those lumps out. I want it to be smooth. And it doesn't really have to be completely because, again, while we add the milk, it's going to keep thinning out. And then after a while, like I said, once you stop, take it off the heat, it will start to thicken like gravy. And I'll add more of that bouillon in a bit. Okay, so now that all the milk is in there, I switched to a whisk to make sure all of those were broken up. There's no lumps. You can see how smooth it is. It's starting to boil. You can see that if you splash it up, it's starting to thicken up a little bit. That's perfect. We can let that sit while I cut up the rest of the stuff, and then we'll be back. Yeah, so this is how, look how thick that's starting to become. Oh, that is awesome. Now I got a couple, I did one, I'm going to do 2 cloves of garlic. That way we can have some really nice minced garlic in there. Yeah. Now, here's one for you. I had a cut on my thumb the other day, and I did this, and I went to wipe it off, and oh my God, was that terrible. Do not put this stuff in a cut. Wow, did that hurt. So now the lumps you see is the garlic. Mm-hmm. My Maine accent, garlic. It's garlic. Mm. So once the potatoes are done, we'll be ready. So we have our chicken. Now, I say in the link below all of the recipes, except this part, because it's so personal. I love onions. My wife does not, so I'm not going to put them in here. You put what you like. But this is what I have. I have chicken, green beans chopped up nice and fine. And this is broccoli. Broccoli rice is what they call it here in Mexico, but it's just chopped up broccoli. And food processor, if I got one. I don't, so I buy it this way. And potatoes. And we'll just mix it up and we'll get into. Now, if we were going to do a regular huge 9.5 by whatever the pan is, you pour all this stuff in, you put the crust that we've made so far over the top and bake it, you're done. We're doing empanada style, so it's going to be a little bit different. This is why this cannot be runny. As a matter of fact, if this is too runny, when we get all this in and you think it's going to run off the empanada, then we'll just add a little bit of cornstarch in there and try to thicken it up a little more. I think it'll be fine though. So I mixed in the green beans and the chicken. Let's get some of this stuff in here too. I'm not gonna put a whole bunch in there. I'm just gonna color it a little bit. Isn't like Tracy can't eat this raw. She is a
I love broccoli.
broccoli nut. But see how thick it's already starting to get? Once we have the potatoes in there, we'll let it cool and then we'll start doing the rest of it. Tracy's getting very hungry, but no problem. She should have eaten something. I told her.
I'm starving. I'm gonna melt away to nothing.
All right, let's get some. If you hear dogs in the background, I apologize. This is Mexico, so do about it.
And we think their neighbor's got a new puppy.
All right. Hopefully, make this a little more easy to handle. All right. So we want to roll this out to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. Make sure to move around so that they don't, it's not sticking. Some people actually turn it, but of course that's not going to work here. Just work it out. Make sure it's not sticking anywhere. Then, what I like to do is take a little bowl, make our little empanadas circles. All right, so now we'll go with the second piece. If you take your pieces and you make it into a ball, fold it up, roll it against the table, but that will tighten up the dough again, so set it aside and let it rest. All right, so let's stretch this out just a little bit. All right, and then we're going to take a little bit of our nice little piece here, set it across. Then take a little bit of the egg yolk beaten. Just go around the edge. This will help seal the dough. This stuff stretches really good. Bring it up around. And see if we can move it over here without it ripping. Then take the fork, make sure to dip it in the flour. Close it up. You can make these as round as you want. I mean, I know they're going to taste good no matter what the shape they're in, so I don't care. We'll just make them long and yummy. But some people are perfectionists, and if you're one of those, don't stretch them out like I did.
You could even probably put one on top of another to make a round one.
Well, you could, absolutely. You can do whatever you want, for sure. Let's try to make a real round one here, see if we can do this without making too much of a difficult mess. That's why I stretch them out, because I like to not worry about that kind of stuff. But all right, bring that around. Yeah, almost like a professional, doesn't it? Ooh. All right.
Almost like he knew what he was doing.
Almost like I knew what I was doing. All right. And we're going to pinch together. All right. All right, next.
Now I want you to see how much filling we have.
And we only have 8 of these to make. So I do have more dough, and you can make plenty more. But this stuff it will last a couple of days. Just put it in an airtight container or freeze it. Do it later. Doesn't really matter. You're done getting these done. Make sure you poke some holes in here. This will allow the steam to come out and not blow through the seams. Once you're done with this, put it in the oven at 350 for 15 to 22 minutes or until golden brown. Okay, so they're done. It's to my liking. You can go with browner if you want to. A couple of them did split open, as you can see, but as you can see in the top, they closed up as they puffed up. So I suggest the next time you drive the knife in, just give it a twist. That way, hopefully they'll stay open and not blow. But obviously, some of them did. Look at that. Look how nice that looks. Look at that. Oh.
The potato softened right up too. It's good.
All right, so there you have it, guys. Enjoy.